What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Sports to the Wire. For those of you who are new to the channel, I am your host, Rashid White. My co-host, my boy, Derek Burrell's on the other side of the panel there.
What's up, guys? What's going on?
All right.
Good to be back.
All right. As everyone can actually see with the title on screen there, 4 or maybe 5 plausible trade options for Russell Westbrook. And this is not on this article right here, but we're going to start off with the Knicks and everything, man. I mean, the Knicks is actually desperate for some type of star power. And you know how Dolan likes to hit those back pages of the Daily News and New York Post. So, Westbrook trade for a 2027 Lakers first-round pick. And I'm not going to throw R.J. Barrett in there because I think the Knicks will come through this camera and wring my freaking neck, man, you know?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be an option right there on the table there. That's a fact right there. That's a fact. So I tell you, that's a fact. I don't see that happening, bro.
Russell Westbrook's strength is he actually puts a lot of pressure on your defense. I mean, he's not as athletic as he once used to be, but if you surround him with a lot of pieces, like he did with the Washington Wizards team, maybe it's an upgrade in terms of the actual point guard position that the Knicks currently do not have. What do you think?
Right now you look at the way the Knicks has their team assembled. As I told you before, you have guys like Obi Toppin, you have Gaines, you have R.J. Barrett, and you have Emmanuel Quickly. These are guys that you do want to keep on your team. You don't want to part ways with these guys. But if you're trying to get Russell Westbrook, if the Knicks is sitting there and he's having this conversation with Leon Rose, he said, listen, I want to get this guy Russell Westbrook over here. Who can we part ways with right now? Well, you got to look at who has expiring contracts. You want to see how the salary matches up in regards to what you're taking in, because Russell Westbrook is probably owed right now $37 million going into next season. I believe it rolls up to 43. So he's an expensive guy, and I don't know how long his years in the contract is. So forgive me about that. But if you're going to bring his contract on for whatever's left on the contract, you have to make sure everything matches up. So who can you part ways with is the biggest question.
You're definitely looking at Julius Randle because he's probably hindering the development of Obi Toppin.
Right. And you don't want to get rid of Mitchell Robinson, although he's compromised you on offense, but he's a good defensive
he's looking
player.
for a big payout. I think we did a video on him. He's looking for a big payout, and we look at the that's another topic. We'll get into that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the agency comes up. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Right. So you have to sit back from a Knicks standpoint and say who financially, who physically. I mean, you basically want to get younger, but you want to develop. And Coach Tibbs is a good coach, man. I don't knock Coach Tibbs, but he's been. There's a point in time, even at the All-Star break, but I'll make it real quick. The Knicks were looking to part ways with him. There was rumors that they were looking to go a different direction at the All-Star break. But didn't do it.
They're playing hard for him, though. They're playing hard.
This is the whole thing, but we didn't defend very well. You got guys like Fournier on the team that can't defend. So we weren't the defensive team we were a year ago when we made the postseason as a fourth seed. So you have to look at certain things like what can we do to better the roster? What can we do to provide more points? What can we do to get better on defense? If you think Russell Westbrook is that dude, then you just don't want to break the whole team up just to get him. So these are things that you have to consider.
All right, so the next will be the Los Angeles Lakers giving up everything and Russell Westbrook for Damian Lillard. So Russell Westbrook, 2027 first-round pick, 2029 first-round pick, and a 2026 swap. The Lakers get Damian Lillard. I guess that might just work because
really,
if Dame doesn't want to be there anymore, I think the Trailblazers can get a lot better than this stuff.
I think they can get a better deal. Besides, Dame has made it clear he wants to go to New York, but we don't know how serious he is about that now, coming off an injury. But if he's still serious about that, this would never happen. But just to have this conversation, it's funny. The Lakers don't really have much draft capital left, except the 27.
Oh, they do. It starts in 2027.
Right, but that's down the road.
That's down back.
Yeah, but that's down the road. I mean, what else you going to package with this deal?
Rob Pelinka, new beginning. That's what I believe him.
Right. He's full of crap. Damn new beginning. You know damn well you can't do nothing with this roster. You know damn well you're stuck with this roster. But if you can convince the powers that be in Portland to part ways and give them Dame Lillard, you got to do more than just the first round pick of 27-29, bro. You got to get rid of somebody else. You got to get rid of somebody else, and who would that be? Who would that be?
Anybody else? You're not giving up Anthony Davis, even though
Gordon Tucker.
Gordon Tucker. 50 years old, man. But I mean, Anthony Davis is who he is. But that's another video. We'll get into that. Hey, Rashid was right about Anthony Davis this whole time. All right, so let's get to the next one over here. The Pacers, Russell Westbrook, Taylor Horton Tucker, 2027 first round pick, 2029 first round pick, and a swap for 2026 and 2028. Lakers get your boy Malcolm Brogdon, Buddy Hield, Miles Turner. Now, Miles Turner is actually injury prone, foot injury.
Yeah.
But can't actually space the floor, and is a decent rim protector.
Buddy Hield is a pretty good player. I like Buddy Hield. I'm surprised Sacramento hold on to him, but I understand why they moved on. And then, Brogdon, listen, I always said to you many times that the Bucks should have held on to him. That's a fairly decent trade. That's if somebody in Indiana wants to pull that trade off. But does Westbrook work well? You think you're going to get rid of who's the third player involved there?
Miles Turner.
Miles Turner. I don't think they're going to part ways with Miles Turner. Even though he's injury prone, he has a great defensive prowess, and he does have a good back to the basket, and he can hit the 15-footer.
No, he's not a back to the basket player. He's a floor spacer, and he's not a back to the basket player. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, he has had opportunities.
And nobody used that. They want the big to space the floor. So
right.
Like Brook Lopez can play with his back to the basket.
Right.
They want him to space the floor. All right. So the next one is the Pistons. The Pistons get Russell Westbrook and the 2027 first round pick and 2028 pick swap. Lakers get Jeremy Grant and Kelly Olynyk. Now, okay. Nah, man. I mean, I think the Pistons.
Skip that, bro. Skip that altogether. I don't see how that's gonna work on both sides at all. You gotta look at this thing as a whole. Westbrook is not going to make anybody better unless you're able to hold on to certain players. But you're also talking about getting rid of players just to get them over there. I'm not trying to do the Lakers any kind of favors or anything like that, man. I mean, this is actually them. I wouldn't do it either. I wouldn't do it either. But I mean, at the end of the day, let's just be honest. Can Russell Westbrook make you better with the trades, with giving up draft picks to get him over there? Can he make you better than what you were? And to be quite honest right now, from what I've seen in the last week or so, he did play well, but for the whole season, he missing layups, air balls, not committing on defense. So, I mean, you need to get him mentally committed, and if I'm pulling triggers, man, I need to be convinced that this guy is worth giving up a draft pick for, giving up some quality players for. But you look at the Pistons, they do have Cade Cunningham. I told you about Cade Cunningham. He's going to be up and coming out of,
yeah, man.
Yeah, Cade Cunningham's pretty good. So, do you think he'll help Cade Cunningham in the maturity process, the maturation process? I don't know.
I would keep that man away from
So, there's
right now.
Yeah, so there's Yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is. A guy comes back and, that's another thing you do. You have a lot of young players on these various teams, and you wonder if he can be the leader, the guy that you can go to for advice, the guy that you can go to for experience advice.
I mean, he has the worst self-awareness of any basketball player I've ever seen in my life, man. So.
But you know what? This is not the same Westbrook we had. This is not the same guy we saw in OKC. It's not the same guy we saw in Houston. But you got to think about it. Why didn't they work in Houston? Why didn't they work in Washington? I mean, there's got to be certain things that Russell Westbrook has not
He's
changed.
a true guard that can't shoot. That's the problem. I mean, that's just how it is. And I mean, he's good enough. I think he's decent enough to get you through the regular season. But once the playoffs begin, I mean, they really start honing in on your weaknesses, man. They ain't gonna just let you go to your strengths and drive in, and they're not gonna do that.
No, they're not gonna do that at all. I want to make one clear thing about Westbrook at all. This whole thing about him respecting authority too, because there was times in Los Angeles where they're telling some of the players bring the ball up the floor. Let's push the rock. And Westbrook said, "You do that, we're gonna have problems. You give me the ball, we're gonna push the ball up the floor." I mean, how are you supposed to respect this guy as a leader when he's basically challenging the head coach? Because remember, they tuned out Vogel, the whole team did, but Russell Westbrook was the catalyst. So you're talking about bringing that kind of attitude over to your team as well. It's a lot of things to consider.
I know you can't get rid of the players, man. It's easy to get rid of the coach, but you got to get rid of the players, man. This is just especially Russell Westbrook, man. I mean, it's not like he's. Let's get into the next one. All right, so this is only, I guess, if Greg Popovich retires. The Spurs get Russell Westbrook in the 2027 first-round pick, and the Lakers get Doug McDermott, Josh Richardson, and Romeo Langford. Now, this trade right here would just be like, all right, a last resort, and we just have to get rid of Westbrook at this point, man.
I don't see this trade going down at all, bro. I really don't. Because this is not.
There's going to be a sucker in this, man. There's going to be a sucker. One of these 5 teams are going to be a sucker in this whole thing.
And these are the 5 teams. These are the 5 teams, obviously, that have shown that they just might, in the way this concept, be sucker enough. Thank you. Be sucker enough to come out there and say, we'll look into it. Personally, if I'm running any 5 of these organizations, I'm saying no. I've pointed out many key attributes right now that's going on with Russell Westbrook. He's inconsistent. He's not a team player. He's not much of a leader.
Selection, turnovers, defense.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things going on with this guy. And you're talking about giving up draft capital. Or the Lakers got us those 2 first rounds in 27 and 29. What else do they have? What else do they have? That's why I said before, they're stuck with this guy. But if you can find 5 suitable guys, I just don't see New Orleans doing it. I mean, I don't see San Antonio. I definitely see the Knicks doing it. It's just
the biggest sucker is going to be the Lakers for signing, right?
they stuck with him. They stuck with him. Remember, I told you, it's the salaries. That's going to be hard to match up with. I mentioned that with the Knicks situation. You're talking about the salaries. You're talking about what he brings to the table. Because when you make the trade, can he make you better than what? That's the whole idea of making a trade. Can we be better? Can we ascend? I just don't feel comfortable with any of these scenarios where he can come in here and say, you know what? We're going to be 5-6 games better than we were last year. We're going to compete for the play-in. Or we might be a 6 seed. Because if you feel that's the case, then you bring him in.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone feel that way.
They can't get free agents over there. I mean, it's a mess in the Lakers.
It's a mess. I mean Kobe Bryant must be rolling in his grave right now.
Yeah, that's a whole nother video. And the next video, guys, I'm going to do another video. The Lakers history in the last 12 years, and why would any coach since 2013, let's say 2014 to current present day now, why the hell would any coach want to come to this damn Lakers team after everything that happened between? I mean, yeah, it's a mess.
It's a mess right now because
to go up in there, if you're gonna go up in there, that's how bad it is, man.
Yeah, it's a mess right now, and I'll say this real quick before we go away. If I'm a Laker fan, I just don't feel very confident with this team. We're coming back practically with the same team, and we're going to be 1 year older. I just don't have a play. Of course, the Western Conference has gotten a lot better, so I just don't know how you can see this team and how long can LeBron James play at this level. You need to bring young talent over there to help spell him and help keep him fresh.
Yeah, I mean, because that keeps you at least. Listen, with the young talent, even though they're not as experienced and they're not great at closing games, they can keep you in the game, and then you get the veterans to come in and close the game out.
That's pretty much what we're doing right now.
And I don't know how LeBron doesn't see that. He doesn't want to play with young players. you're gonna have to get him to try to play with young players. I don't know, man. He's just.
You're gonna get the listen. Like we talked about before. Say it real quickly. You need an alpha male in there to head coach the team. Okay, young players are gonna have to come in there. If you can find some bargain basement deals, that's gonna have to happen. And you're gonna have to find ways to manage, AD's minutes and manage LeBron's minutes and keep these guys fresh, keep them healthy as long as you can, and hope Westbrook can somehow recapture a tad bit of what he once had for the most part. And if all these things happen, maybe the Lakers will be in the play-in tournament next year, or maybe even with a 6 seed next year. Maybe, just maybe.
All right,
we shall see.
Time tells everything. We will certainly see. And if you like this video, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get all the latest non-biased sports from Sports Quiet and Rashid and Barrett over there, man. All right.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Appreciate you as always. Peace.